Welcome to my YouTube channel, friends, and this is Ricky Sambo. In today's lesson, we want to revise Civic Education, which was written in 2023 under external candidates. In this lesson, we want to revise section B. So when you look, section B carries 40 marks. So 40 marks in an exam, you don't need to play with it. So here we have section B, and then we have 5 questions. So they say there are 5 questions in this section. Answer all questions in the answer booklet provided. So an answer booklet will be provided. So we have to answer these questions in the booklet. Now, for the sake of revision, we're going to use the same paper. So in this case, let us look at the first question, which is briefly explain the following concepts in relation to human rights. So you'd find that human rights, it's a major topic that we find in civic education. So in grade 10, you're going to find human rights, grade 11, you're going to find human rights, and grade 12, you're going to find human rights. So any person, or if you're sitting for external or internal examination, you have to cover human rights. So the first one is duties. So what do we mean when we say duties? So duties, we can say these are obligations which the state and an individual. So we have two parts. So the state and an individual. So they have obligations in using their human rights. So they must use their human rights in order for them to survive. So now these human rights must respect, or these parties must respect each other. So the government should respect individuals, and then individuals also should respect the government. So when we say that, it means that those are duties. So now to write, we can say both. So both government, so both government and individual have obligations in using their rights, they must respect rights of others. And then apart from that, we are saying that this means that the government and an individual, no one should disrespect someone's rights. So the other one, it is entitlements. So when we say entitlements, we are saying that these are claims or freedoms every human being, regardless of the sex, the age, religion, color, social status, you can mention them. So regardless of that, each and every person has those claims. So by having those claims, it means that those are entitlements which are given by the state. So we can say these are claims. These are claims of freedom every human or every individual being, so regardless of sex, age, religion. And then not only that, we can put also color, and then we can put also ethnicity, or so color, we can say regardless of sex, age, religion, color has the same as the same claims and freedom. So regardless of who you are, so the entitlements are the same. So we can look at the privileges. So privileges, we are saying that privileges, you find that every person is entitled to a certain fundamental human rights simply by the fact of being human. So that is what we mean when we say privilege. So we can write to say every citizen or a person is entitled to a certain fundamental rights. So fundamental rights simply by the virtue or fact of being human. So that is what we mean when we say. And then let us look at the other one, which is responsibilities. So responsibilities, we're looking at two words which are very important. Number one, loyalty and patriotism. So you can be a patriot to a country, meaning that you have to protect the country, and then you have to be loyal to that country. So now that is the responsibility, or those are responsibilities of every citizen. So a sound citizen has to have responsibilities. So these responsibilities, when a person executes them properly, we are saying that that person is patriotic, or the person is loyal. So we can say we can say being patriotic and loyal to the country. In this case, this is Zambia. Okay, so the country and promote its well-being. So that is what we mean when we say responsibility. So these we are carrying 8 marks. So you have to explain and add a word to these. So these are just points that has been given. You just have to add a word because we don't have enough space. So let us look at question 2. 2 characteristics of culture. So when we say 2 characteristics of culture, so by the way, what is culture? So culture, we can say it is a way of life. So way of life. So when we say way of life, that is culture. So culture includes the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we talk. Everything about us is the sum total, or others may say is the sum total of life. So that is culture. So everything that we do, that is culture. Now, when we say characteristics, how can we know that this is culture? So there are several characteristics of culture. So we can say, culture is learned. So culture is learned, so that is a characteristic, learned. And then culture is dynamic. So culture is dynamic. So that is a characteristic. And then cumulative, that is also a characteristic of culture. And then comprehensive, So comprehensive, that is another characteristic. So comprehensive. And then apart from comprehensive, we have culture is also shared. And then apart from that, culture is based on symbols. Based on symbols. So meaning that they wanted only 2 answers. So from these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, from these shared 6 points, you can just write 2 because they wanted us to find 2. And then the other question is, Talemu observed his grandfather making a red mat. The next day, he started doing the same. Under what component of culture does this fall? So meaning that there is a situation of learning. So this person was learning from what he was observing from his grandfather. So, and then the following day he had to do it. So this is education. So education. And then under education we have, this is now what we call unguided, because he was just observing and then he started making the following day. So apart from that, we can move to the other question. So that is question C. So it was carrying 1 mark as well. So question C, we are saying the ritual that one undergoes to mark important changes in a person's position in society is referred to as. So a person is changing position now. Important change in a person's position in society is referred to as. So this one is what we call rites. So rites of passage. Okay, so we can move to the other one. Name 2 institutions that preserve cultural heritage in Zambia. So we have many institutions that preserve culture in Zambia. So the first one that we can give here, it is the first one that we can give, so we can write D. So the first one that we can give is National Arts Council. So which is NAC. And then the other one that we can give is Ministry of Education. So Ministry of Education. Apart from Ministry of Education, we can also give Ministry of Tourism. That is where we find now museums, because also they preserve cultural heritage. And then apart from that, the other institution that we can find there, it is International Cultural Cooperation. So International Cultural Cooperation. And then we can include another one, which is National Heritage Conservation Commission. So National Heritage Conservation Commission. So meaning that from these given institution, you can choose 2. Explain the concept cultural relativism. So relativism. So that is the concept that we want to explain. So when we say cultural relativism, this is the idea. So this idea, it states that it looks at the behavior portrayed by an individual. So that behavior which has been portrayed by an individual, to some societies it may not make sense. To some societies it can't carry, or it can't hold water. But in other societies you'd find that it can make sense. So we are saying that this is the idea. This is the idea that a behavior can only be appropriate or properly understood. So it can be understood only and then not only, so only by the society or make sense in the context of norms and values of a society, which it occurs. So meaning that there are things that are done in certain traditions that do not make sense, but in their traditions or in their culture, they make what? They make sense. So that is what we mean when we say cultural relativism. So we can move to question 3. A summon in high court is always accompanied by, so a summon in high court is always accompanied by the statement of claim. So the statement of claim. So the statement of claim. And then let us move to B. What is a cognizable offense? So meaning that an offense that is that you can see then. So we are saying that this is an offense. This is an offense that can be easily seen as a crime. For example, stealing. When you steal, or robbery. So those are examples that we can give because you are able to notice and you're able to see them. And then C, suspects should only be arrested by the police officer after producing. So a suspect, more especially those that are suspected for corruption, then a warrant arrest must be produced. So warrant of arrest. Warrant of arrest must be produced. And then state one condition that is outlined in the criminal procedure code. So you find that the criminal procedure code, so it states that once a person is arrested without search warrant, he or she should be brought before the competent court within 24 hours as soon as reasonable. So now, in an event that the court does not bring that person to court within the stipulated time, it means that the court should release that person. That is according to the criminal procedure code. But now there are those conditions that allows, or the conditions that is outlined in the criminal procedure. So there are several, and we're going to mention only one here. So one that you're going to mention is that when a person obstructs a police, when a person obstructs a police person or personnel from doing his duties, then that becomes a case. So we are saying that a police officer or personnel, police officer in the execution of duty. So when he's obstructed, then that becomes a problem. And then explain the meaning of judge's rule. So this we normally hear, even those movies for Nigeria, you'd find that you're going to hear this word when someone has been arrested. So they are told to remain silent, because every word that they will use will be used against them in the courts of law. So meaning that is the meaning of judge's rule. And then the other thing, we are saying that the person who has been arrested should be given mandate or privilege to talk to his or her lawyers. So that is an explanation which should be given here. So we are saying that judge's rule states that the person has the right, so the right to remain silent for any word used will be used against in the courts of law. Okay, so that is the meaning of judge's rule. And then let us move to F. Mention two courts in Zambia that are at the same level with the High Court. So there are about 3 courts that are on the same level with the High Court. So the first one is the industrial relations. So the industrial relations is at the same level with the High Court. So we can say industrial relations court. So this court has to do, or it resolve conflict between a company and an individual, or a worker and the employer. So apart from that, we have the family. So family and children. So children court. So these are 2 courts that are at the same level with the High Court. So we can move to question 4. So how can poverty in Zambia be alleviated? So meaning that how can we reduce poverty in Zambia? So there are several ways in which poverty can be reduced. So they've said how can. So meaning that you have to explain those points, and then you come up with at least 4 points So the first point that we can put across is improvement. So improvement. So improve health care. So improve health care. So a country which has a problem with health care, it means that the people will remain in poverty because they will not be working because they don't have proper health care. So the other one, it is increase. So there must be increase in safe water and sanitation. Apart from that, we can put across another one. So improvement in agriculture. So improvement in agriculture. So apart from that, we can also include another one where we say there must be development in skills. So skills and self-development. So self-development. And then apart from that, we can also include improvement. So improve education system. So these are points. There are 5 points that can help to alleviate poverty in Zambia. Briefly explain the causes of population displacement from agriculture and settlement land, meaning that people they move from agriculture and settlement places. So there are 2 key points. So agriculture and settlement, where people live, and then where they do agricultural activities. What can cause them to move? So they've said briefly explain. So we're going to just indicate points. So the first one is the first cause of population displacement is mining activity. So mining activities. So you'd find that in an area where people are doing agriculture and where people are staying, if they discover that there are minerals there, then you'd find that the land can be bought, and then people would move from such areas, agriculture area and settlement area. And then apart from that, you'd find that also the land, if at all they were to move away, you'd find that the land still will be polluted. The land will be damaged because of mining activities. And then apart from that, the other one, we can say environmental factors. So environmental factors. So also environmental factors, they send people away from agricultural places and settlement places. So the examples that we can give can be natural disasters like floods. So floods and cyclones. Cyclones, not only cyclones, but also you'd find that earthquakes. So earthquake may help or may make people to move from agricultural areas and settlement areas. Apart from that, the other one, it is industrialization. So you'd find each country is in this phase where, more especially developing countries like Zambia, so where they are developing industrialized. So you'd find that an area can be bought where they would want to put a factory or an industry which will make people to move and to go and settle somewhere else. The other one, it is conflict. So conflict and war. So conflict and war would make people to move from their places and to find other places where they can live. The other one, it is infrastructure development. So infrastructure development. So still people they may settle in areas where the government wants to improve in terms of infrastructure. We can give an example of road or railway. So these, meaning that if they want to build or to construct bridges and other, for example, the other example that we can give schools, and then we can give also clinics or hospitals. So where people would move, after moving, then they build schools or other infrastructure. And then the other thing is government policies. So when we say government policies, you'd find that they also help to displacement of people from agriculture and land, settlement land. In an event that the government decides to build a mine or to construct a mine where they've seen that there are minerals, and those people that do agriculture activities there, or if at all people stay there, then they will be displaced because they've seen minerals and they would want to develop that area. So other areas you'd find that because of government policies make other people to move and go and find other places. So that is section B. Thanks for watching.